On today's Taste Texas.
Scallops and risotto. If you kind of rinse the rice first, we can actually trap some of those starches in the water.
Okay.
Sear them on high heat in order to get a pretty sear.
It's the sweetest, reddest grapefruit there is.
So pull up a chair and join us at the table.
Texas. I'm Amy Kushner.
And I'm Garth Blackburn.
We are going to be making something amazing today. One of my very favorite things that I love to eat, but I'm not that good at cooking, and that would be scallops.
Scallops and risotto.
I like that too.
Things that make people cringe when they think about making that for a dinner party or even their first or fifth unsuccessful try.
Yes.
So I'm going to give you all a few ideas to make it easier and just more fail-safe.
Nice.
And add some more flavor to it as well, of course. So,
hold on one second. Is this the meal that you came up with like at 5 o'clock this morning?
We'll see what little tidbits of information I decide to share with my co-hosts in the future, because it won't be much.
A little birdie just told me that he created this whole idea just a few hours ago, and that's how he rolls.
I still had 2 shows before that.
That's right.
So if I can think of this meal, come up with a shopping list and a prep list.
Impressive.
And deal with some of your shenanigans and have it all ready in that short a period of time.
Yeah.
I know that y'all can do that at home.
Absolutely.
And you can do it in your own
Where's
home.
the wine? Let's go.
Where's the wine? So what we're going to start with risotto, I've got a totally different approach. A lot of folks have made risotto before, and they hear the classic, like you saute the rice, and then you add either wine, or you always add hot chicken stock and all this other stuff. But what I've found is that if you kind of rinse the rice first, we can actually trap some of those starches in the water. And I'm going to add more flavor because I'm using what I would never admit to any of my old culinary instructors. That I'm not using homemade chicken stock, but I'm gonna kind of doctor it up a little bit. So here's what we're gonna do, is that I'm gonna take, in fact, I'm gonna add more to this. So right now, this is a pasta insert in a pot that's on heat. Okay, I'm gonna add a little bit more flavor to what's going to be our pre-made chicken stock. I just took some leftover celery, some chives, some onions, and then these are the stems of our kitchen pride mushrooms.
Okay.
So this is a mixture of oyster and cremini. So just stuff that has flavor. I don't really care, we're not gonna be eating it by itself because I'm putting that down in the liquid on the bottom. This is where it's a little different. For most every time that you see people making risotto, they are just taking the hot liquid, putting it into the rice. I'm actually gonna rinse the rice first. And let me explain what's happening here.
All right.
So what's happening right now is I'm taking some of the starch off the rice, but it's going into the chicken stock that's gonna go back into the rice, okay? And then we're gonna saute that and make it a little toasty, and then it's all gonna come together. So let me show you.
I hope you're taking notes.
It's a different approach, and if you've never made risotto before, this is a little easier setup, and I'm still adding more flavor than what I would get just from regular store-bought chicken broth. Okay? All right, so what we're gonna do first, I'm gonna have you chop some mushrooms.
All right.
So these are some Kitchen Pride cremini mushrooms. There's your knife. Okay, mushrooms, I don't want those to cook for as long as the risotto is gonna take to cook. So we're gonna saute those, remove them from the pan, and put them back in towards the end.
Okay. Let me ask you, does that need to be on like a griddle, or do you just want it on some sort of heat?
It's like a medium heat. We just need it to slowly warm up that chicken stock so that when we're adding it to the risotto, that it is already hot. So we're not heating up the rice and then cooling it down with cold chicken stock, and then heating up the rice and cooling it down with the cold chicken stock.
Okay, I follow you.
These I mean, was that
Crazy.
not a cool trip?
Yeah, that really was.
And that's probably not the right expression to use when we talk about mushrooms being a cool trip, but what I'm thinking
that's
about
not a
is
good
our
idea.
experience.
It took a while for me to get that.
I know, me too. I didn't intend to say it that way.
No pun intended.
The trip was not due to the shrooms, it was due to Kitchen Pride in Gonzales,
Right.
Texas, and we got to see these oyster mushrooms growing, which is really cool.
Yeah, it really
The way
was.
to work with these, to know, in fact, why don't you take half of those?
Okay.
To know that you're using the most tender part is just try and break it. If you start down at the bottom, see it doesn't break. If you go up to the top, now that just breaks off.
I see. See, I wouldn't even probably buy these unless you had told me about them because it's a little intimidating. Like I would look at this in the grocery store and think, I don't know what to do with that.
Freaky.
Freaky.
Yeah, you saw it growing actually.
Yeah. But there really is a difference in flavor, and they're not scary. They're cool.
And texture and taste. They're called oyster mushrooms a little bit because how they look, but they actually have a flavor really similar
they
to
do.
seafood, which is going to go great with those
Oysters.
those scallops.
Scallops, that
Scallops,
too.
oysters. It's the oyster
Whatever
mushroom.
it was we were making, I already forgot.
Wine. It goes well with wine, doesn't it?
Yes, that's it, exactly.
So I'm tossing our creminis in there, our
Okay.
oyster mushrooms. We're gonna saute these for about 4 to 6 minutes until they start to brown, remove them, and then we'll be on to the rest of our risotto.
So it's scallops, right? Scallops with all this goodness. Stay with us. We're going to be right back after this break.